What if I told you that everything you've been trying to manifest, the money, the relationship, the success, the freedom, has been sitting right there in front of you, but you couldn't see it because you were tuned to the wrong frequency? And what if I told you that right now, in this exact moment, you're about to discover how to tune your mind to the one frequency that makes manifestation not just possible, but inevitable? This is not about repeating affirmations you don't believe. This is not about vision boards that collect dust. This is about understanding the quantum mechanics of reality creation and becoming the most powerful broadcaster of your desired reality. Once you lock into the unshakable mind frequency, your reality will never be the same. Let me start with a truth that might shock you. You are not attracting what you want. You are attracting what you are. And right now, if you're honest with yourself, you're probably vibrating at the frequency of wanting, of needing, of lacking. And here's the devastating truth about the universe. It doesn't respond to your words. It doesn't respond to your wishes. It responds only to your frequency. When you vibrate at the frequency of, I need money, the universe hears, I don't have money, and gives you more experiences of not having money. When you vibrate at the frequency of, I want love, the universe hears, I lack love, and gives you more experiences of lacking love. This is not punishment. This is physics. The universe is a perfect mirror. It reflects back exactly what you're broadcasting. Now, here's where most manifestation teachings get it wrong. They tell you to think positive thoughts, to visualize your desires, to act as if. But if your nervous system is locked in survival mode, if your body is addicted to stress chemicals, if your subconscious is running programs of unworthiness, no amount of positive thinking will work. Why? Because your frequency is not determined by your conscious thoughts. It's determined by your state of being. And your state of being is determined by the coherence between your mind, your heart, and your body. When these three are aligned, broadcasting the same signal, you become an unstoppable force of manifestation. When they're misaligned, you're like a radio trying to play 3 different stations at once. Nothing comes through clearly. This is what I call the unshakable mind frequency. It's the state where your entire being, mental, emotional, and physical, is locked into a singular, coherent signal. And that signal is not I want, it's I am. When you operate from this frequency, manifestation stops being something you do and becomes something you are. You don't try to attract abundance, you become abundance. You don't try to attract love, you become love. And the universe, being the perfect mirror that it is, has no choice but to reflect that back to you in physical form. Let me explain how frequency actually works in the context of manifestation, because understanding this will change everything. Everything in the universe, including your thoughts and emotions, vibrates at a specific frequency. Quantum physics has shown that at the subatomic level, everything is energy vibrating at different rates. A rock vibrates slowly. Light vibrates quickly. Your thoughts vibrate somewhere in between. And here's the key. Like frequencies attract like frequencies. This is called resonance. When you tune a guitar string to a specific note, and you play that note on another guitar nearby, the first string will begin to vibrate in sympathy. It's not touching the other guitar. It's responding to the frequency. Your consciousness works exactly the same way. When you hold a specific frequency in your mind, heart, and body, you begin to resonate with experiences, people, and opportunities that match that frequency. This is not magic. This is sympathetic resonance. This is how the universe organizes itself. The question is, What frequency are you broadcasting right now? Are you broadcasting lack or abundance, fear or confidence, chaos or peace? Because whatever you're broadcasting, that's what you're going to receive more of. The universe doesn't judge your frequency as good or bad. It simply matches it. If you're broadcasting confusion, you'll receive confusing circumstances. If you're broadcasting clarity, you'll receive clear paths forward. If you're broadcasting desperation, you'll receive more situations that make you feel desperate. If you're broadcasting fulfillment, you'll receive more reasons to feel fulfilled. Now let me tell you why most people fail at manifestation. They try to manifest from a state of desperation. They visualize the mansion while their body is tense with anxiety about rent. They affirm abundance while their heart is contracted with fear of scarcity. They imagine the perfect relationship while their cells are saturated with the chemistry of loneliness. And the universe doesn't respond to the mansion in your mind. It responds to the anxiety in your body. It doesn't respond to the affirmation on your lips. It responds to the fear in your heart. Your frequency is not what you're thinking. Your frequency is what you're feeling at the deepest cellular level. This is why the unshakable mind is so critical. An unshakable mind is a mind that has transcended the need for external circumstances to determine its internal state. It's a mind that can hold the frequency of abundance even when the bank account is empty. It's a mind that can hold the frequency of love even when alone. It's a mind that can hold the frequency of success even when surrounded by failure. And paradoxically, it's precisely this detachment from needing things to be different that allows them to become different. Because detachment is not apathy. Detachment is power. When you no longer need reality to change in order to feel at peace, you unlock the highest frequency of all, the frequency of already having what you desire. Let me break down exactly how to calibrate your frequency to match your desires. This is the most important information you'll hear today, so pay close attention. There are 3 levels of frequency alignment: mental, emotional, and somatic. Most people only work on the mental level. They think positive thoughts, they visualize, they affirm. But the mental level only accounts for about 5% of your total frequency output. The other 95% comes from your emotional and somatic states, and these are controlled by your subconscious programming. This is why you can affirm abundance all day long and still stay broke. Your conscious mind is saying one thing, but your subconscious and your body are broadcasting something completely different. And the subconscious always wins because it's louder. The mental level is the easiest to access, but the least powerful. This is where you consciously choose your thoughts. When you catch yourself thinking, "I can't afford this," you deliberately shift to "money flows to me easily." When you catch yourself thinking, "I'm always alone," you shift to "I am surrounded by love." This mental discipline is important, but it's only the foundation. If you stop here, you'll be like someone trying to row a boat upstream. You're fighting against the much more powerful current of your subconscious beliefs and your body's chemical addiction to certain emotional states. The thoughts you think consciously are like trying to whisper over a loudspeaker. The loudspeaker is your subconscious programming, and it's been running the same message for years, maybe decades. So while mental discipline is necessary, it's not sufficient. The emotional level is where the real power lives. Your emotions are the language that the quantum field understands. When you feel lack, you're sending a signal into the field that says, "Give me more experiences of lacking." When you feel abundance, you're sending a signal that says, "Give me more experiences of having." But here's the challenge. You cannot fake emotion. You cannot think your way into feeling abundant if your subconscious believes you're poor. You cannot think your way into feeling loved if your subconscious believes you're unworthy. So how do you shift your emotional frequency? Through gratitude and present moment appreciation. Gratitude is the fastest way to shift your frequency because gratitude is the emotion of having. When you feel grateful for what you already have, you're broadcasting the frequency of abundance. The universe doesn't distinguish between being grateful for $1 or being grateful for $1 million. It only recognizes the frequency of gratitude, which is the frequency of abundance. This is why every spiritual teacher throughout history has emphasized gratitude. It's not about being polite. It's about frequency alignment. When you practice genuine gratitude daily, you begin to tune your emotional frequency to match your desires. But the gratitude must be real. You can't just say, "I'm grateful," while feeling bitter inside. You have to actually feel it in your body. You have to let the warmth of appreciation fill your chest. You have to allow yourself to be moved by the simple fact that you're alive, that you can breathe, that you have consciousness. When you can feel genuine gratitude for the basics of existence, you've mastered the emotional level of frequency alignment. But even gratitude isn't enough if your body is locked in survival mode. This is the somatic level, and it's the deepest and most powerful. Your body keeps the score of every experience you've ever had. Every trauma, every disappointment, every fear is stored in your cells as chemical patterns. When you experience chronic stress, your body becomes addicted to cortisol and adrenaline. Your cells actually develop receptor sites for these chemicals, and they begin to crave them. This is why people become addicted to drama, to chaos, to worst-case scenario thinking. It's not psychological, it's physiological. Your body is literally addicted to the chemistry of survival. And just like any addiction, your body will create situations that give it the chemical hit it's craving. This is why you keep attracting the same problems, the same toxic relationships, the same financial struggles. Your body is creating these situations because it's addicted to the stress chemicals they produce. And when your body is in survival mode, it broadcasts a very specific frequency. The frequency of lack, of danger, of scarcity. No matter what you're thinking or feeling at the conscious level, your body is screaming to the universe, "I'm not safe. I need to survive." And the universe responds by giving you more experiences that justify that frequency. More problems to solve, more crises to manage, more reasons to stay in survival mode. This is the trap that most people are stuck in. They're trying to manifest abundance from the frequency of survival, and it's impossible. It's like trying to tune into a radio station that plays classical music while your dial is locked on heavy metal. The signal you're trying to receive and the signal you're broadcasting are completely incompatible. So how do you shift your somatic frequency? Through coherence practices. Coherence is the state where your heart rhythm, your breathing, and your brain waves synchronize into a harmonious pattern. Research has shown that when you enter coherence, your body shifts out of survival mode and into creation mode. Your nervous system relaxes, your stress hormones decrease. Your body begins producing DHEA, the anti-aging hormone, instead of cortisol. Your immune system strengthens, and most importantly, your cells begin to release their addiction to stress chemicals and start craving the chemistry of peace, of joy, of love. This is the key to sustainable manifestation. You're not just changing your thoughts, you're changing your body's biochemistry. You're rewiring your nervous system. You're installing a new operating system at the cellular level. Here's the coherence practice that will change your life. 3 times a day, minimum, you're going to do this. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed for 5 minutes. Sit comfortably with your spine straight. Close your eyes. Place your hand on your heart. Now breathe slowly and deeply. Inhale for 5 counts. Exhale for 5 counts. As you breathe, imagine that you're breathing directly through your heart. Feel your chest rise and fall. Now, as you continue breathing, bring to mind something or someone you're genuinely grateful for. It could be a person, a pet, a moment in nature, anything that makes your heart feel warm. Let yourself really feel the gratitude. Not think about it. Feel it. Let that feeling of warmth spread from your heart throughout your entire body. Continue this for 5 minutes. What you're doing in this practice is retraining your body to crave coherence instead of chaos. You're installing a new chemical addiction, an addiction to peace, to joy, to gratitude. And here's what's incredible. When you do this consistently for 30 days, your baseline frequency permanently shifts. Your nervous system learns that safety is the default, not danger. Your cells learn to crave elevation instead of survival. And when that happens, manifestation becomes effortless. You're no longer trying to manifest from lack. You're manifesting from overflow. Now let's talk about what happens when you lock into the unshakable mind frequency. First, your perception shifts. You start noticing opportunities that were always there, but you couldn't see them before. This is not coincidence. This is frequency matching. When you're vibrating at the frequency of survival, your brain filters out anything that doesn't relate to immediate survival. This is called the reticular activating system, and it's designed to keep you safe by focusing only on threats and problems. But when you're vibrating at the frequency of creation, your reticular activating system recalibrates. It starts showing you opportunities, resources, connections that align with your new frequency. Suddenly, you see the job posting you've been looking for. You bump into exactly the right person at the right time. You receive information that leads to a breakthrough. These aren't miracles. These are simply you tuning into a frequency where these things exist. They were always there. You just couldn't see them because you were tuned to the wrong channel. Second, your manifestations accelerate. Things that used to take years start happening in months. Things that used to take months start happening in weeks. Why? Because you're no longer blocking the flow with doubt, fear, and conflicting frequencies. You're broadcasting a clear, coherent signal, and the universe can respond clearly. Think of it like this. When you're manifesting from survival mode, you're like a radio that's playing 3 different stations at once. The universe receives a garbled signal and doesn't know what you're asking for. But when you're manifesting from the unshakable mind frequency, you're broadcasting one clear signal. The universe knows exactly what you're asking for and can deliver it precisely. This is why some people manifest things seemingly overnight while others struggle for years. It's not about worthiness. It's not about karma. It's about signal clarity. The clearer your frequency, the faster the manifestation. Third, you stop experiencing resistance. Doors that used to be locked suddenly open. People who used to say no suddenly say yes. Obstacles that used to feel insurmountable suddenly dissolve. This is because resistance is not something external. Resistance is the gap between your frequency and the frequency of your desire. When you're trying to manifest $1 million while vibrating at the frequency of poverty, there's massive resistance. The gap is huge. But when you shift your frequency to match abundance, the resistance disappears. There's no gap to cross. You're already vibrating at the frequency of having it, so having it physically becomes the path of least resistance. The universe always takes the path of least resistance. Water flows downhill, not uphill. Energy moves toward equilibrium. When you match the frequency of your desire, manifestation becomes the path of least resistance, and it happens naturally, effortlessly, inevitably. Let me share with you the secret that nobody talks about. The reason most people never manifest their desires is not because the universe is withholding from them. It's because they're withholding from themselves. They want the mansion, but they won't let themselves feel wealthy. They want the relationship, but they won't let themselves feel loved. They want the success, but they won't let themselves feel worthy. And the universe can only give you what you're willing to receive. If you're not willing to feel wealthy before you see the money, you'll never see the money. If you're not willing to feel loved before you meet the person, you'll never meet the person. The manifestation comes after the frequency shift, not before. This is the paradox that breaks most people's brains. They think the manifestation will make them feel the feeling. But it's the exact opposite. The feeling creates the manifestation. This is the paradox of manifestation that most people cannot accept. You have to become it before you have it. You have to feel it before you see it. You have to embody the frequency before the physical evidence appears. And this is where faith comes in. Not religious faith, frequency faith. The unwavering knowing that if you hold the frequency consistently, the manifestation must follow. Because law is law. The law of attraction is not a philosophy. It's a law of physics. Like attracts like. Energy matches energy. Frequency attracts corresponding frequency. It's non-negotiable. Just like gravity is non-negotiable. You don't have to believe in gravity for it to work. You don't have to understand gravity for it to work. It just works. The same is true for the law of attraction. It's working all the time. Whether you believe in it or not. Whether you understand it or not. The question is, are you using it consciously or unconsciously? Are you deliberately choosing your frequency, or are you letting your subconscious programming choose it for you? But here's where people get tripped up. They hold the frequency for a day, for a week, and when they don't see immediate results, they drop back into doubt. And doubt is a frequency, a very low, very destructive frequency. When you doubt, you're canceling out all the work you've done. You're like someone planting a seed and then digging it up every day to check if it's growing. You're interrupting the process. The unshakable mind is the mind that can hold the frequency even when physical evidence hasn't shown up yet. Even when circumstances seem to contradict your desire. Even when everyone around you says it's impossible. You hold the frequency because you understand that the three-dimensional reality is always the last place that change shows up. The change happens first in the quantum field, in the realm of possibility, and then it materializes in physical form. But there's always a lag time, and that lag time is where most people give up. They think the lag time means it's not working, but the lag time is actually proof that it is working. The seed is germinating underground. You just can't see it yet. The unshakable mind bridges the gap. It holds the frequency during the lag time. It maintains coherence even when the bank account hasn't changed. It stays in abundance even when the relationship hasn't manifested. It remains confident even when success hasn't arrived. And it does this not through willpower, but through identity shift. This is the most advanced level of manifestation. You stop trying to get something and you start being someone. You stop trying to attract wealth and you become wealthy in your consciousness. You stop trying to find love and you become love in your essence. You stop trying to achieve success and you embody success in your identity. When you shift your identity, your frequency shifts automatically. And when your frequency shifts, your reality must shift. This is law. Let me give you a practical example. Most people say, "I want to be a millionaire." That's the frequency of wanting, of not having. An unshakable mind says, "I am wealthy," not "I will be wealthy," not "I'm trying to be wealthy." I am wealthy, right now, in this moment. Regardless of what the bank statement says, because wealth is not a number in an account. Wealth is a frequency, and you can vibrate at the frequency of wealth even with $10 in your pocket. In fact, that's the only way to manifest wealth. You have to feel wealthy before you become wealthy in the physical. You have to walk like a wealthy person, talk like a wealthy person, make decisions like a wealthy person, carry yourself like a wealthy person, not in an arrogant way, in a confident, abundant way. When you do this, you're training your nervous system to accept wealth as normal. You're teaching your subconscious that wealth is your natural state, and your subconscious will then create circumstances that match that belief. Here's the practice that will accelerate this identity shift faster than anything else. Every morning when you wake up, before you check your phone, before you think about your problems, before you do anything, you're going to spend 10 minutes living in the reality of your fulfilled desire, not visualizing it as something in the future, living it as if it's happening right now. If you want wealth, you're going to feel what it feels like to be wealthy. What does your body feel like when money is not a concern? What does your breath feel like when you're financially free? What does your heart feel like when abundance flows effortlessly? Feel it, embody it, become it. For 10 full minutes. Don't just see images in your mind. Feel the feelings in your body. Let your body experience the reality of having what you desire. Your body doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you imagine vividly enough, your body releases the same chemicals, fires the same neural pathways, and creates the same cellular changes as if the experience were actually happening. This is how athletes use visualization to improve performance. This is how actors prepare for roles. And this is how you reprogram your frequency. Do the same thing at night before you fall asleep. Your subconscious is most programmable in the moments right before sleep. This is when the conscious mind releases control and the subconscious opens up. So you lie in bed and you enter the feeling state of your desire fulfilled. You don't visualize images. You feel feelings. You inhabit the frequency, and you fall asleep in that frequency. This programs your subconscious mind while you sleep. You're literally rewiring your neural pathways, changing your cellular chemistry, and recalibrating your frequency to match your desires. Do this every morning and every night for 30 days and watch what happens. Your entire reality will shift. Not because you forced it, not because you worked harder, but because you changed your frequency. And reality always matches frequency. But I need to warn you about something. When you start shifting your frequency, your life will reorganize. And that reorganization can look like chaos. Relationships that were based on your old frequency will fall apart. Jobs that matched your old frequency will become intolerable. Situations that were aligned with your old identity will dissolve. This is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. This is a sign that you're doing something right. The old structures that supported your old frequency cannot support your new frequency. They have to fall away so new structures can emerge. This is the death and rebirth process. The caterpillar must dissolve in the cocoon before it becomes the butterfly. Your old life must dissolve before your new life can emerge. And the dissolution phase is uncomfortable. It's supposed to be. You're dying to who you were so you can become who you're meant to be. Most people panic at this stage. They see their life falling apart, and they think they've made a mistake. They rush back to their old frequency, their old patterns, their old identity, because it feels safe, and they wonder why their life never changes. The unshakable mind does not panic. It recognizes the dissolution as necessary. It trusts the process. It holds the frequency even when everything is falling apart. Because if you are, your reality will transform. Not might transform, will transform. This is law. Your life 30 days from now will be unrecognizable compared to your life today. Not because the world changed, because you changed your frequency, and when you change your frequency, the world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match. You unlocked the unshakable mind frequency the moment you decided to engage with this. The universe brought you here because you're ready. Your soul called this information to you because it's time. Time to stop struggling. Time to stop forcing. Time to start flowing. Time to start creating. Time to become the conscious manifester you were always meant to be. Welcome to the unshakable mind frequency. Your new reality starts now.